It was a crisp autumn evening when Claire received the mysterious invitation. The envelope was an old, dusty parchment with no return address, only a simple, elegant script that read, "You are cordially invited to Blackwood Manor." The embossed wax seal bore the intricate crest of a raven, its eyes glinting with an eerie, otherworldly light. Claire, an aspiring journalist with a taste for the macabre, was intrigued. Blackwood Manor had been abandoned for decades, shrouded in rumors of ghostly hauntings and unsolved disappearances. The allure of uncovering the truth behind the manor's dark past was irresistible. She arrived at the manor just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows across the overgrown grounds. The mansion loomed before her, its Gothic spires piercing the twilight sky. The once grand structure was now a crumbling relic, its windows dark and foreboding. Claire hesitated for a moment before pushing open the heavy wooden door, which creaked ominously. The interior was a labyrinth of dust-covered furniture and cobwebs, illuminated only by the flickering light of her flashlight. A grand staircase dominated the foyer, its banister carved with grotesque faces that seemed to watch her every move. As Claire explored the manor, the air grew colder, and the silence was punctuated only by the occasional groan of the old building. She found a library filled with ancient books and strange artifacts, each one more bizarre than the last. A peculiar volume titled "The Lost Chronicles of Blackwood" caught her eye. Its pages were filled with dark incantations and accounts of unearthly beings. Her exploration led her to a hidden door behind a bookcase. The door opened with a reluctant groan, revealing a narrow, winding staircase that descended into darkness. Claire's heart raced with both excitement and fear as she made her way down the stairs. At the bottom, she found herself in a cavernous underground chamber. The walls were adorned with faded murals depicting sinister rituals and shadowy figures. In the center of the room stood a stone altar, covered in ancient symbols and strange dried substances. Claire's flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows across the chamber. As she examined the altar, she heard a faint whisper, like the rustling of leaves. She spun around, but the chamber was empty. Her breath quickened, and she decided to return to the main floor. That night, Claire settled into one of the dusty guest rooms. The manor was unnaturally quiet, and sleep eluded her. Strange noises echoed through the hallways, soft footsteps, distant whispers, and the occasional crash. Each sound seemed to come from just beyond her perception, making her feel as though she was being watched. Around midnight, she was jolted awake by a chilling draft. The window was wide open, despite having been securely shut earlier. As she rose to close it, she noticed a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the bed. The figure was indistinct, a shifting mass of darkness with glowing red eyes. It moved closer, and Claire could feel its cold breath on her face. She leapt from the bed, but the figure vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. Trembling, Claire realized that the whispers from earlier had now become more distinct. They spoke in a language she couldn't understand, filled with menace and despair. Determined to uncover the truth, Claire spent the following day researching the manor's history. She discovered that Blackwood Manor had once been home to the Blackwood family, who were rumored to have practiced dark magic and occult rituals. The manor had fallen into ruin after a series of mysterious disappearances and deaths. Claire returned to the underground chamber that evening, hoping to find more clues. As she examined the altar, she noticed a hidden compartment. Inside, she found a weathered journal belonging to the manor's last resident, Jonathan Blackwood. The journal detailed a forbidden ritual meant to summon a powerful entity from beyond the veil. According to the journal, the ritual had gone horribly wrong, resulting in the deaths of the family members and the summoning of a malevolent spirit that had cursed the manor. The spirit, known as the Shadow King, was said to feed on fear and sorrow, trapping souls within the manor for eternity. As night fell, Claire felt a growing sense of dread. The shadows in the manor seemed to shift and writhe, and the air was thick with a palpable malevolence. She decided to confront the Shadow King, believing that understanding the entity might be the key to escaping the manor. Armed with the journal and a handful of protective charms, Claire returned to the underground chamber. The shadows danced around her, growing darker and more oppressive. She began reciting the incantations from the journal, her voice trembling but resolute. The room grew colder, and the shadowy figure of the Shadow King materialized before her, its eyes burning with a malevolent fire. The entity's presence was overwhelming, and Claire felt an icy grip around her heart. Despite her fear, Claire continued the incantations. The Shadow King roared in rage, its form shifting and twisting in the darkness. The protective charms around Claire began to glow with a faint, purifying light. The battle between Claire and the Shadow King raged on, each incantation pushing the entity back. The chamber trembled as if the very foundation of the manor was under siege. Claire's resolve was unwavering as she recited the final, most powerful incantation from the journal. The Shadow King let out a final, agonized scream before being engulfed in a blinding light. The entity's form dissolved into nothingness, leaving behind a void of silence. The oppressive darkness lifted, and the shadows retreated, their hold on the manor broken. Claire, exhausted but triumphant, made her way back to the main floor. As she stepped outside into the fresh night air, she felt a profound sense of relief. The manor, once a place of terror and darkness, now seemed to exude a faint, hopeful light. Claire knew that she had faced the horrors of Blackwood Manor and emerged victorious. The manor's dark past had been laid to rest, and the spirits trapped within its walls were finally free. As she drove away, she glanced back at the mansion, now a relic of a bygone era, and felt a sense of closure.